speaking, give them the microphone.
If Shiv Mataji wants to read the translation, any others?
Why?
They can.
No, you.
Oh.
I'm completely. When I'm saying the translation myself, I'm just doing now in another group in Hong Kong, and I'm reading the Falshruti, and then I'm waiting for your voice, and you're not here, so then I did it myself. You tell me when to turn this down or turn it up. Just indicate. There's no problem. Govinda, you're okay?
Yeah.
Ready to go? Okay. Is it on? It's running? You have to tell me when it's running so I know.
Sorry.
Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tararaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tara Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Om Agnatimirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmalitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. And first of all, offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astol Tarzar Shishimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And the same again, millions and millions of times, unto the lotus feet of our most beloved, Nitya Lila Prabhishta Om, Astol Tarazara Shishimad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada, and all our illustrious Rupanuga Guru Vargya, and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Before I forget, tomorrow is Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur's disappearance day, and the disappearance day of Gadadhar Das on the same day. So there's a feast here. So you're invited and welcome. Okay, where are we up to?
The second
6. So Falshruti. Jade Dvaita Jnana Haya Chitta Upadaya Krishna Bhakti Chira Dina Upaya.
Such knowledge, which is solely related to the duality of this dull material world, is fit to be rejected, whereas transcendental knowledge of the divine duality within the spiritual world, Chit Jagat, should be accepted forever within one's heart, both as the Upai, means of attainment, and the Upai, goal worthy of attainment.
Yes, the conclusion, the sadhya, this Amal Prem Seva that is mentioned in the last verse of the Falshruti. This is the goal, the conclusion. We have to stay constantly on that track because there are many distractions on the path that can lead us off into a material consideration. You can be thinking, oh, if you're in the society of devotees, oh, I'm going to become a great devotee. You know, I want to be a great speaker. I want to be a great kirtaniya. I want to be a great pujari. I want to be a great cook. There are all these other, we want to be a great servant of Krishna, that's all. We want that focus constantly to be reminded of that, because that's our eternal welfare. If it's anything else, it's not. It's only going to be temporary. Definitely. It'll appear to be real because lots of people might be patting you on the back and saying, oh, you're doing so good, this and that. And yes, you know so much and this and that and the other. But actually, it's a distraction. And pride is the most difficult thing to purify. And if we become very proficient in various activities, then if pride is coming at the same time, then Krishna won't tolerate. We talked about that yesterday. So, forever within one's heart, both as the upaya, means of attainment, and the upayi, goal worthy of attainment. So this is like the abhideya and the prayojan. Jiva kabu jadunai, hari kabu nai, hari saha jiva Achintya-bhedabheda mai.
The Jiva is not a product of dull matter, nor is he Kevala Advaita, absolutely one in all ways with Sri Hari. The Jiva is inconceivably different and non-different from Hari.
It was only Mahaprabhu who really clarified this philosophy of Achintya-bheda, abheda tattva, inconceivably one, yet different. It's like, you know, a logical mind has a hard time accepting that. You're actually one, but you're different. How can you be one if you're different? But the very simple example I've always given of the water from the ocean has exactly the same qualities as the huge ocean, but the difference in quantity is immense. It's huge. The ocean is enormous. The quantity in a water is just a little handful, not even a handful, a spoonful. So, but still, the ingredients are the same. So we have that particle of God, Paramatma, soul, consciousness within us. We have that so that we can serve the soul. That's why we have it. If we didn't have it, how could we serve that supreme transcendental personality? If we didn't have that particle of Godhead within us, how could we do that? How could we do it to bring him pleasure? If we were just made of dull matter, how is dull matter going to be of interest to that pure transcendental personality?
Also applies to Radha Krishna.
Huh?
Radha Krishna.
Radha and Krishna, yes.
Achintya-bhedabheda.
No. Radha and Krishna are like the transcendental moiety or deity. Radha and Krishna are like one in a sense. They're not actually two. They become two for Leela. It's not a separate thing. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the worship of that transcendental Krishna. Just say Krishna for now, then it'd be easier to understand. Krishna indicates Radha and Krishna, but just if you, the tattva of Krishna, not rasa tattva. Understand? Don't complicate it when you say Radha and Krishna is Radha and Krishna.
The concept one and different simultaneously.
Yes, between the Jiva and Krishna, not between Radha and Krishna. It's between the Jiva and Krishna. Radha and Krishna are like the same. They are like one. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritiya Hladini Shakti Asmat Ekatmanav. Radha and Krishna together have combined in the form of Mahaprabhu. But they are like, it's described like two lotuses with a single stem. They've got a single stem, but it's two flowers. So it is like one. But that's not what this is about. This is about the Jiva in relationship to Krishna. And we are one and different from Krishna. And I've gone over this before. Those 9 points. Gyan Sarup, Nata Sarup, Bhaktri Sarup, Mantri Sarup, these different points. We've read it here in Jaiva Dharma. I don't want to keep going over the same thing again. You have to take notes and then you can catch it. Otherwise, I just be repeating myself because there's people watching the video and they'll be knowing these things and then to hear it again and again and again, start to yawn, you know?
Repetition is good.
No, but I'll just tell you anyway and note it down now. You haven't got a pen or a notebook. So how can you note it? Remember this, it's on page 346. Do you have that written down, Yogamaya? 346. Those,
Difference between
this is the third time, 346 that I'm reading it. It's very helpful to see. If you're sitting at home watching, then you can look on page 346 in the last paragraph. First, you should understand the non-difference between Ishvara and the Jiva. And after that, I'll explain the eternal difference. Okay? Got that part? 346? Then it's saying, Ishvara is the embodiment of Gyan Swarup. And the Jiva also has that ability to absorb knowledge. I've said this actually 3 times.
His question is like, we have Achintya-bhedabheda tattva between Krishna and the Jiva.
Yes.
So he's asking, is it the same with Radharani and
No,
Krishna?
I told him no. No, it's not like that. Radha and Krishna are one. I just explained that. They're two lotuses from the one stem. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Hladini Shakti Asmad. They're one. No, definitely not. It's not two.
So Achintya-bhedabheda
Only applies between Jiva and Krishna. That philosophy was what was all our sampradayas were stumbling over. Ramanuja was questioning, Nimbaditya was questioning, Madhavacha, is the Jiva the same as Krishna? Is he identical? They couldn't understand the spiritual particle of the Jiva in relationship to Krishna. They hadn't enunciated, they hadn't been able to say, yes, It's the same and it's different at the same time. That's what Achintya-bhedabheda. Bheda means difference. Achintya means inconceivable. Huh? You're not writing anything down. You won't remember anything. It'll come in one ear and straight out the other. But when you get back and watch it, then you have to write it down. Because if you write it down, you see, you'll hear it, then write it, and then read it. So it's 3 impressions in the consciousness. And then we need in Kali Yuga this type of sort of impressions in the because we forget in a moment. And then it'll give you some handle to meditate on. So there's actually 9 aspects that seem to be the same. And they're also different. And those 9 are Gyan Swarup, Nata Swarup, means the knower. We can be the knower of a certain amount of knowledge, and Krishna is the knower of a certain amount of knowledge. And Mantri Swarup, Krishna reflects, and we also reflect. Do you understand, Gokul? What this means? Nothing to do with Radha and Krishna. He just threw in what we call in English a red herring. It just gets a distraction. It's not. It doesn't help you understand Achintya-bhedabheda tattva, because Shakti and Shaktiman are like one, the energy and the potency, not like 2. But the Jiva and Krishna are definitely like 2. We're not the same as Krishna, but we have a part of Krishna which needs to be appreciated and understood. And you can understand it through understanding these similarities first. First, you understand the similarities. So Mantri Swarup, Bhaktri Swarup. Krishna is an enjoyer, I am an enjoyer. Right? What's the difference? We're both enjoyers. So we're both God. Yes, you are both God. But you're not to the same degree. You're a tiny, tiny atomic God. God himself is called Vibhuchit, which means the complete total of everything, like the ocean. It's so simple. It's not a difficult thing, but philosophers became like very much debating about this point. So Bhaktri Swarup, and then Swaprakash. Swaprakash means the ability to illuminate. Krishna can illuminate, we can illuminate. If you make someone very happy, you can illuminate them, right? They'll just become like very bright. We can do like that. And then Ichamai, Krishna desires, we desire, right? Actually, what I'll do, I'll type them out. They're already written out on my website somewhere. And appreciate them. But just appreciate that there are similarities between me and Krishna and God. And these are the similarities. And then this distinction is there because we're different. We're the same and different. So Bheda means different, and Abheda means not different. Achintya-bhedabheda. You got that, Yogamaya? Bheda and Abheda. Achintya is inconceivable, Bheda is different, and Abheda means not different. So how do you explain that? It's an amazing philosophy. It's so beautiful philosophy. And it's so simple. A child, like I've explained, just a spoonful of water is exactly the same as the ocean in constitution. You know, it's H2O, right? It's water and it's salt within it. But the quantity is so much different. So it's simple. So that's the reference for it in Jaiva Dharma on page 346. You should study that and appreciate that aspect of that Achintya-bhedabheda. Okay, so one more verse we'll do. Gopal. Deha kaba jivanai dara bhogyanai. Oh, you understand this now, Govinda? This conception? It's between the jiva and between Krishna. Don't confuse it with bringing Srimati Radhika into the picture. Shri Radhika in this consideration is exactly the same as Krishna. She actually is Swarup Shakti, so everything's coming from her. So we have a particle of God within us. It's easiest to see it like that. Sat Chit Ananda. We have that within us. Otherwise, how could we serve Krishna with being able to give Krishna pleasure? If you didn't have that, everything is designed in the realm of love. Everything. It's all, if you think of the loving purpose to this, why is it like this? There's a purpose for Krishna, and it's all to increase the anand, the bliss, the pleasure, the love of existence, because in pure existence, it's only love. We can't understand that, especially in Kali Yuga, because everything is only the opposite, basically. And when we find a little bit of affection or something, we glorify it, we're very happy, but it's the exception rather than what's most of the time, isn't it? I mean, in society generally, globally, you can say, there's global newspapers and so on, which just tell us what's happening, and it's all bad, isn't it? If you watch any newscasts, they're not telling you all of the good, wonderful things, because it's very deficient. But because it's Kali Yuga. But this spiritual realm, when we read in chapter 16 in this Jaiva Dharma about the nature of the spiritual world, I was just reading it in the Hong Kong devotees just now. It's just it's good for us to know where all these references are in the Jaiva Dharma, and then you can stitch it together and make more sense of everything. So it's saying here, in the spiritual world, this is a description of the spiritual world on page 358. 358, which is chapter 16. These are the spiritual personalities. They have no connection with the material energy. In fact, they do not even know if there is a bewildering energy called Maya or not. Since they reside in the spiritual world, Maya is far away from them. It does not affect them at all. Always absorbed in the bliss of serving their worshipable Lord, they are eternally liberated and are free from material happiness and distress. Their life is love alone, and they are not even conscious of misery, death, or fear. Govinda, this is the description of the spiritual world. Only love. Though the spiritual world is the state of consciousness we are navigating, we are trying to reach that state of pure spiritual consciousness. We're trying to wake up my pure spiritual consciousness, right? That's why we have this philosophy to understand my spiritual nature is the same as Krishna's, this Achintya-bhedabheda tattva. You understand? We have this particle of Krishna within us. And when that particle will wake up, we will be non-different and different from Krishna. We will have the ability to love. This is what I'm saying. It's all about the realm of love and sweetness and beauty and charm. What?
Just only love. It's not a friendship or.
Huh?
What about the other races?
That's all love.
Sakya.
Dasya Ras is complete love in friendship. Vatsalya Ras, a mother for her child, is total friendship. Even Shanta Ras is love, but it's love for self more focused. And then Sakya Ras, friendship, love for Krishna towards in friendship. Dasya, it's all in relationship to the object, which is Krishna, or the subject rather, which is Krishna. I am loving in servitude. I'm loving Krishna as a servant. Krishna is my master, and I love him with every part of my fiber, right? That's in Dasya. This is like in Vaikuntha. That mood is there prominently. And then in Goloka, there's 12 rasas. In Vaikuntha, there's only 2.5 rasas. There's only Shanta, Dasya, and a little bit of Sakya. Remember? But in Gokul, there's all 12 rasas. There's the 7 Gona rasas, the 7 secondary rasas like Hasya ras, Adbhuta ras, Rodra ras, Vibhatsya ras, huh?
Virya ras.
Vira ras, yes. These different rasas. If we love God, we'll take an interest in this so that we can catch it. You went to school, you were educated in school, now this is a new school. We have to look at it like that. We have to drop our material false egos and think how far we've come in this life. Forget all that. It doesn't really have much meaning when we come to the table of rasa tattva, or to considering my relationship with the Supreme. But our topic is Achintya-bhedabheda tattva, that I am very small, anuchit, and Krishna is very big, vibhuchit. And I have these opportunities for these 5 different staibhavs: Shantaras, Dasyaras, Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras, and Madhuryaras. 5 different possible relationships are there. And you don't know what that is until we have practiced longer in a more mature way. Don't ever sort of speculate, well, you know, I like cows, therefore I'm a cowherd boy. You don't know that. You know, you just wait until your Guru Maharaj will indicate to you internally. Very often it might be external or it might be internal. It depends. Here in Jaiva Dharma, it's external. Both the heroes, Brajanath and Vijay Kumar, they go to their guru, and their guru directly tells them, oh, you are in Sakya Ras. He tells Brajanath, and then he tells Vijay Kumar, oh, you want to make garlands with Lalita Devi? Yes, you are in Madhurya Ras. So he tells them directly what they are. But it's all in the package of love. Everything is with affection. When it's pure love, it has no distortion. There's no envy. Envy means, I think you have more love than me. How can I have more love than you? How's that possible? Really and truly. We all have our own capacities to love. And whatever that capacity is, that is the most wonderful experience you've ever gone through. It's like Mother Yashoda is in Vatsalya Ras. And we hear that Madhurya Ras is higher. But Mother Yashoda would never want to change her affection with Krishna as my baby, as my child. For her, that is the highest. And in Sakya Ras, the friends of Krishna, this is, for them, it's the highest conceivable. I don't want anything more than Sakya Ras. Sakya Ras is the limit of my heart. That's where it goes. The cowherd boys, when they're getting dressed in the morning by their mothers, they're saying, quickly dress me. Krishna can't wait to see me. This is what they're thinking. They know how much Krishna loves them in their own rasa. But what's the highest relationship with the gopis? This is his pleasure. So we are able to hear about these truths from Mahaprabhu now in this Kali Yuga. And we're hearing them under Rupa Goswami and Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This is what we're hearing. So we have an opportunity to actually be attracted to the highest, deepest ras, even higher than Krishna, which is Radhika. Because Radhika ultimately is higher than Krishna. Krishna has to submit to Radhika. My Gurudev would always say that Krishna is like 0 without Radhika. Radhika is the energy, Swarup Shakti. So there's these progressions of consciousness and our eternal identity. It's called sthai, means like fixed. Sthai, fixed. That fixed place in your heart of your fixed eternal relationship. It can't be changed, Govinda. You can't say, oh, I want to be a gopi, but actually my nature is that of a cowherd boy. If you're a cowherd boy, that's what you will be eternally. And that's where you are going to get the most satisfaction from. And that relationship will be gradually revealed through your practice. That's what I'm saying. Don't try and short circuit it and say, oh, I feel this inclination or that inclination. You wait until you have understood more of the picture, more of your own heart. That's what we're trying to get in, because Krishna's in the heart. He's also in Goloka Vrindavan. This we can say is Achintya-bhedabheda. This is inconceivably one and different also. You understand a little bit?
Maharaj, I think because we are Baddha in this condition, we don't know what is the definition of love. Because, like,
We've forgotten.
now, yeah, we have forgotten. For example, Prabhu was telling, how can love be there in Dasyaras?
How can what?
Love be there in Dasyaras.
Love.
That's
Why
what.
not?
Yeah, so we don't know the definition of love. That's what I feel. Because
Love is when there's nothing else in your heart except serving. Love always comes with that word service. And we can understand that in this world. You served your father. He loved you because you served him. And you loved him because you served him and he served you. There was a loving relationship because of service to each other. So in Dasyaras, the dynamic is master and servant. So how many examples are there of the loving servant, of the loving master? The master may have many servants, but one or two of those servants genuinely just loves the master for who he is, not for what they want to get from the master. When we think of it in the perverted form, and this world is the perverted reflection of the spiritual. What happened? What's a perverted? What's a reflection? A reflection is all around the other way. When we look in the mirror, what's on the right is on the left in the mirror. Everything's bent around. So the perversion in this world is that I want to be the center. That's the perversion of this world. And in this world, when we think of the relationship between master and servant, it's usually it's not very often that you read about the absolute surrendered servant who would do anything the master wanted for the master's sake. Mostly the servants are getting paid, or they're getting something, some benefit from the master. These cowherd boys in Dasyaras, they don't want anything from Krishna except his love. And they reciprocate with that love. They love him so much.
That's in friendship.
Friendship.
Yeah.
No, this is in servitorship. Then Sakyaras is in friendship.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Sakyaras is in friendship. They're very distinct emotions. And these 5 rasas, they cover all the options available in humanity. There aren't more than 5. There's only 5 that cover everything. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is explaining it like this. There's only 5. Shantaras is like neutrality. Most people in this world are wanting that neutral relationship. And then there's Dasyaras is servant. And then the Sakyaras is friendship. But Salyaras is parental. You know, that relationship between a father and a child is tremendous, that love. And Krishna is relishing all of these rasas. Krishna is called Raso Vaisa. He's the repository of all of these rasas. It's very beautiful, Govinda. And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. The more you get into it, the more beautiful it is. But if you come from this platform, it's only about love. And the whole time we are trying to understand this, we're trying to appreciate that Supreme Lord. First, he's like the Supreme Lord, and then he becomes like our intimate Lord, and then he becomes like that person I want to perform favorable service to. I described this the other day. No. Bhagavat Prapti Abhilas, service to Krishna as the Supreme. And then Anukul Abhilas, service to Krishna in that is favorable to pleasing Krishna. I might serve someone, but is it actually what they want? Am I really able to tune right into that person and give them exactly what they want? Or am I going to do it my way? I think Guru tells you, oh, bring me a glass of water. So you go away and think, Gurudev would really like a glass of milk. So you go and bring, that wasn't what he asked for. That wasn't what he even wants. But you've come back, oh, tears in your eyes. Here, Gurudev, I'm offering this beautiful fresh milk for you. This is what you will like, you know, this is good for your body. Gurudev just said, go away. I asked for a glass of water. Don't you listen? You know? So love means empathy. When you loved your father, you were thinking about him. What does he want? He's an old man. He doesn't do things the same speed as you. Does he like it like this? Does he like it like that? Does etc. etc. This is a demonstration of our affection. And similarly with Krishna, this is what I told the other day about the qualities. What are Krishna's qualities? When we understand Krishna's qualities, then we can appreciate who he is and develop our relationship with him, not our speculative idea of him. This is where any other religion like Christianity or Islam fall down, because they don't have the information about him. I can remember when I was a kid, I always thought God was an old man on a big throne with a long white beard. Yeah, great this ancient person. I was help me pass my exams. You know, I was always praying to him. You know, but I didn't know who he was. And then all of a sudden, I came in contact with him, and then he's this young, youthful, blackish boy, and all the pastimes about him, all the demon and dancing on the heads of Kaliya, for example. Wow, who is this person? He can dance on the heads of snakes and kick them into submission, take their wicked mentality out of them, you know? And then his even more extreme example with millions of women. You know, one man with one woman can make so many problems. What about one man and a few women? It's even more problem. What about billions? And yet Krishna is able to balance all of these women. That's what Ujjwal and Laman is all about. How does Krishna manage? Because they get into man, they get angry, they get jacked off with him. He ignored them. He went with somebody else. He was doing this and that, and they picking on him and he has to manage all of this. Is really, you know, a huge job to do, and it keeps Krishna totally bound up. But it's all in the realm of affection. That's the doorway. That's the channel to actually understand it. It's nothing but beautiful. Okay, let's leave the Falshruti at Achintya-bhedabheda verse, because that was our topic we were discussing. Have you got that, Govinda, about Achintya-bhedabheda? It's essential to get those 9. There's 9 of them. I don't know whether maybe 8 is Para-prakash and Swaprakash. Those are the last 2 in that list. Anyway, I'll send you the list. But it's good to know where they are in Jaiva Dharma. Always have this in your pocket, Govinda, when you leave here. Carry your Jaiva Dharma with you and know that every question you come in contact with in the world that you're looking at, any doubt about anything, you will have it answered here. So it's helpful to know where it is in here. That's what I'm saying, the different pages as we go through. Keep your reference. Because if we try and do something speculative, it's not going to have the same result. But if we do something according to Shastra, it'll have a very, very lasting, positive result. It's not always what we want to hear. Don't do this, don't do that, etc., etc. But it's going to give the lasting joy in the heart. Raja Vidya Raja Guyam Papitram Etamutavam Pratyakshabagamam Dharamyam Susukam Katam Avyayam. This is in the 9th canto, 9th chapter, 2nd verse of Bhagavad Gita. Raja Vidya Raja Guya. This knowledge is the king of all knowledge, and it can be fully realized and perceived. Prakyakshagamam dharmyam. It can be perceived, these truths, and it's eternal. We are made of that particle in us that's the same as Krishna is eternal. That's the soul. When we hook into that soul consciousness and start trying to develop the soul's consciousness, then we're going to be satisfied. Yeyatma suprasidati. We're going to become satisfied because we're paying attention to the eternal part of ourselves. The temporary mind, this material body, this material personality, subtle body, etc., is only temporary, made up of so many different impressions and so on. We want to park those and come to our eternal nature of just being a servant, having that hunger, that mad desire to please Krishna. The gopis, when they were looking for Krishna, they were so distraught. Why were they distraught? Because they knew Krishna wasn't happy without them. When somebody else is enjoying with Krishna and Radharani is waiting, Radharani knows that Krishna is not happy except when he's really with her. So she's feeling unhappy because she knows Krishna's not really happy. It's a big quantum leap for us in this material world. We're always thinking about ourselves. We never stop thinking about ourselves, right? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go there. It's all focused on me. But when we take the process in a serious way, which begins with Harinam, it begins with the Harinam. If you can chant for 4 or 5 in the Holy Dharma hours a day, I mean, this will give you such a boost, no question. Every round in Vrindavan anyway is equivalent to 1,000 rounds outside of Vrindavan. So you get a very, very powerful impression, but you have to know what to do with that impression, is what I was saying the other day. It's like filling the car up with petrol. So you're full, you've been chanting all day, now what? Where are you going to drive to? You need to have knowledge also of the path, of the trail, where we're going to go. And that is all contained in Jaiva Dharma. Everything, top to bottom. Okay? Are you self-realized now? Now you understand?
It's like a bit of it's like a lot of
Working out. Just let it settle. Don't be frantic. Don't be frantic. At the same time, be frantic. That's Achintya-bhedabheda again. We want to be patient and we want to be very enthusiastic at the same time. Utsaha, nischayat daryat. We want to be enthusiastic. Utsaha, this utsaha means like in the throat. The energy gets, oh, I'm just so anxious to have this. It's rising. This enthusiasm is rising. And then Krishna and all his potencies, especially the Parampara, of course, are going to be guiding us. We have to depend on them. When we open up Shastra and unlock Shastra, we're connecting with those personalities. They're guiding us fully in every way. Listen to them. Have your antenna up. They will speak. Hear them. They're in the atmosphere. They're eternal personalities, Nitya Siddha Parikas. They're here. They don't disappear. Listen to them. Listen to Mother Ganga at night. She has a special song, especially you're living there, right on her banks. Listen to her at night. I was crossing the Ganga one day in a boat, and an old lady, she looked at me really deep and said, "Do you listen to the Ganga at night?" Oh, wow. And then I really started trying to listen to Mother Ganga at night. Why not? She's there, she's rolling, dive down to the bottom of her current. She goes a long way down, all the stones are tumbling at the bottom. There's a rumble. Comes in waves, like the ocean, like when you go to Jagannath Puri. All the waves, it's described, every single wave that crashes on the beach in Jagannath Puri is a prayer to Lord Jagannath. Every wave is Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath. Every wave that's crashing there. These are the sound vibrations of the world we live in. If we choose to listen, just open up our, propensities. It's all there because we have this God element. We have this transcendental aspect within. That's what Achintya-bhedabheda is about. We have that. Not for my pleasure, but to give pleasure to Krishna. That's why I have it. And this could be a distraction, like a yogi. He suddenly wants to take advantage of it for his own pleasure. Oh, I will get bliss from that, about me having pleasure from this. No, how can that help my devotion? If I listen to Mother Ganga at night, what is she saying? To help my love to Krishna, to help me perform devotion to Krishna, not for some exciting, event on my psyche or something. That's like a yogi's path. And then all of a sudden, where are we there? Nowhere. Okay. So
But
let's.
we should be meditating on that path, right? To get that answer, whatever you told just that whatever is favorable for bhakti.
Anukulena Krishnanushilanam. No. Anyabilasita Shunyam. Yes. Of course.
So to get that answer, we should be in that.
No
path.
other.
Ah.
What other is there? Tell me.
No. I just meant if you're thinking of something else, you will never get a proper
Absolutely.
answer.
If you're not ekantika, if you're not one focused, like the gopis were, the gopis' only consideration was to please Krishna in all circumstances. Sri Radhika in particular, you look at her example, she only is thinking for Krishna's pleasure. How can she make Krishna more happy? And Krishna is also thinking how he can make Radha more happy by allowing Radharani to serve her, etc. This takes time of associating with Harinam, with Shastra, with advanced devotees who are interested in Shuddha Bhakti, not interested in Gyan Mishra Bhakti, just acquiring some knowledge so you speak it very nicely or something. That's not our objective. There's so many pundits on the circuit, in the market. That's not going to necessarily please Krishna. Where is that Shuddha Bhakta? Like my Gurudev would describe that Tattvavit Rasik Vaishnava. Understand? Okay, come back to chapter 10 here. Conversation with Nyayaratna. We're on page 233, and we're discussing an amazing topic of grounding us in the authenticity of this Vaishnava Dharma. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is opening out the history of Vaishnavism, which is essential for the intelligent sadhak to appreciate. We have to know where our philosophy has come from. Where has it manifested from? Like our Gayatri mantras, for example. But none of you here chant them, so anyway, I won't talk about it. But where what are their origins? The Brahma Gayatri, from the dawn of creation, what is its origin? And there's many chapters in the, I was saying yesterday, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which describes the dynasty lines of these personalities. Who was their father, their grandfather, their great-grandfather, their great-great-grandfather. It goes all the way back in historically, and it gives us a sense of the authenticity. This is the word I'm using. We need to be rock solid convinced. So you're in some place and there's very intelligent people there and everything, and they're really examining your faith and so on, but you don't really know. You haven't really got the platform. Then you can be pushed and pulled away. You need to have that platform, because then you can put someone else on that platform also and make them very secure in this philosophy. This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is doing. He's making us secure fully, with no doubts. Understand? It's very compassionate of him to take the time to actually do that. It's very kind of him. So we were talking about Sankaracharya, and we were talking about Buddha, and now it's come down to this second paragraph on page 233, I believe. So Bhagavan and his activities are beyond human reasoning. That means they're beyond the conditioned mind. That is again confirmation that if we want to go beyond human reasoning, we can only meet someone who is beyond human reasoning to take us to that place, which means Guru and Guru Vargya. Without that, we're just stuck in the conditioned world of mental speculation, and it's nothing. You may get some astral inspirations, subtle inspirations, mystical inspirations, but it's all temporary compared to the ultimate eternal reality. Bhagavan and his activities are beyond human reasoning. So intelligent people should never think, Ishvara should not have done that. We read this yesterday, but we'll read it again. Ishvara should not have done that. It would have been better for him to do this. Ishvara is the director of all jivas, and only he knows the necessity for binding men of ungodly nature and the doctrine of illusion. There's a purpose to Krishna's plan. There's a purpose to how else is Krishna going to rectify the wayward jiva? We've turned away from the most beautiful personality in existence, the very origin, Lavanamrita, of all beauty. And we've turned away from that. That personality knows we cannot be happy because we've turned away from him. So how is he going to entice us, bring us back? Sometimes he will have to slap us like you do a wayward child. How do you educate children sometimes? Children like little animals. They need the stick. Our minds need a stick, to bring us back. We should do that ourselves. Bhakti-siddhanta Saraswati said, what? 300 times first thing in the morning. Beat the mind. Don't let it just run wild like it's perhaps been doing. We have no means of understanding Ishvara's purpose for manifesting the jivas at the time of creation and then destroying their forms at the time of cosmic annihilation. This is all Bhagavan's Leela. Those who are intently devoted to Bhagavan, this means the pure devotee. You got that, Govinda? They're intently devoted to Bhagavan, experience great delight in hearing his pastimes. They don't like to engage in intellectual debates about these matters. Intellectual debates get very dry because it doesn't mean that the heart wants to find its embrace with Krishna. It just the head wants to show something off, some sophistry or something like that. Nyayaratna, that is all right. But why do you say that Mayavad doctrine is opposed to the Vedas, Vedanta? I think we've read this already. We didn't? Okay. Vedanta and Gita, Vaishnava Das. If you have carefully examined the Upanishads and the Vedanta Sutra, kindly tell me which mantras and sutras support the doctrine of Mayava. We are so lucky to have Bhaktivinoda Thakur here. He was so erudite in all the Shastra. So he's creating this character of Vaishnava Das who does also know all the Shastra. So he's got his hands on all the scriptures to give the proper Shastric answer, the conclusion. Therefore, it's going to be eternal. Therefore, it's going to ring. It's going to resonate within our consciousnesses. Yes, this is for real. This is not just any, flickering philosophy. It's for real. Some Vedic mantras may appear to contain a faint trace of Mayavad philosophy, but if one examines the mantras that come before and after, that interpretation will be instantly dispelled. Yes, don't take just one phrase out. Look at its support from previous and look at conjecture where it's going. Where is it in the piece? Just don't be taking out one single thing, but look at it in context and then you'll get the picture. If you want to understand this, it's very simple. We just have to open ourselves up to receiving it, and it's all there. It's not a difficult task. It only gets difficult when we want to be the controllers. As soon as we want to call the tune, so to speak, that's when it's going to get difficult. You know, the false ego, pride, as soon as that comes into play, it'll be difficult. Nyayaratna, brother, I have not studied the Upanishads and the Vedanta Sutra. When it comes to a discussion on the Nyaya Shastra, I am ready to discourse on any topic. Through logic, I can turn a clay pot into a piece of cloth and a piece of cloth into a clay pot. This is their pride. So what? A clay pot is fine. Why do you want to turn it, into a piece of cloth? It's like, why do you want to walk on water when you can take for 2 pice a boat across the water? What's its value? Its value is that it makes you look special in society. It's all about pointing at you, not about pointing at love. You see, the whole commodity of love is just like left when it gets into Mayavad. You understand? That's what we're hungry for. We're hungry for love. And love with that supreme person is the only eternal love. And the Vaishnavas who are practicing that path are loving associates on the path, on the journey, and no one else. Really, no one else. However materially nice they might be, they're not going to satisfy the hunger of the heart. I have read a little of the Gita, but I have not entered into it deeply, so I cannot say any more on this point. Instead, let me ask you one more question on another topic. You are a learned scholar, so please properly explain to me why Vaishnavas don't have faith in the remnants of food offered to the Devas and Devis, although they have great faith in Vishnu Prasad. Vaishnav Das. I am not a scholar, I'm a great fool. One who is a scholar will realize that he's a great fool because he realizes how little he knows in connection with how much there is. A great scholar knows how much there is to know, right? So therefore, he knows that he doesn't know everything. You understand? Understand, Govind? It's like, for example, another example, someone who, what is mad, but doesn't know that they're mad, then he's really mad. But if someone knows he's mad, then he's not quite so mad, right? You understand that? If you know that you're a little mad, then actually you're probably quite sane. But if you don't know and acknowledge your own madness, then you're even more mad because you're not even owning up to it. You understand? So like that. I'm not a scholar, I'm a great fool. You should know that whatever I am speaking is only by the energy of my Gurudev, Paramahamsa Babaji Maharaj. No one can know all the Shastras, for they are a limitless ocean. But my Gurudev has churned that ocean and delivered the essence of the Shastras to me. I have accepted that very essence as the conclusion that all the Shastras have established. How beautiful to have a Guru who has churned all the Shastras and is able to give us the essence of the Shastra. The answer to your question is that Vaishnavas do not disrespect the prasad of the Devas and Devis. Sri Krishna is the supreme controller of all controllers, therefore he alone is known as Parameshwara. All the Devas and Devis are his devotees, and they are appointed to positions in the administration of universal affairs. Vaishnavas can never disrespect the prasad of bhaktas, because one obtains Shuddha Bhakti by honoring their remnants. The dust of bhaktas' feet, the nectar like water that has washed bhaktas' feet, and the nectar like food that has touched bhaktas' lips, these three are prasad that are supremely beneficial. They are the medicine that destroys the disease of material existence. The fact is that when Mayavadis worship the Devatas and offer food to them, The devatas do not accept it because the worshippers are contaminated with attachment to the doctrine of illusion. That's the answer to his question. The Mayavadis are not out of illusion. Therefore, the devas, they don't accept that. If a bhakta offers very nicely to Lord Shiva, but he won't offer just boga to Lord Shiva. It's like Guru. Guru will never ever accept anything that is called boga, that is unoffered. If you go to your Gurudev with a garland, your Gurudev will want to say, well, who was this offered to first? And Gurudev will happily take that garland as remnants, as prasad, in honor of that person. But he's not going to just accept that garland when it's just bought fresh and hasn't been offered to anybody. And the same when we offer our boga. We never offer the boga first to Guru. He will never accept it. Gurudev only accepts Mahaprasad. First, we give Gurudev a sitting place. We call him. And then we pray to Gurudev to please help me offer this boga to Radha and Krishna. And after I've offered that boga to Radha and Krishna, then I offer it to Gurudev. Then it's prasad. Gurudev will take that Mahaprasad with great happiness. And the same with the devas. The devas will take that remnants from Radha and Krishna. But directly to Guru, never. Not anything. Not anything. Not a piece of cloth or anything. Everything should be offered first to Thakurji. We used to take sometimes some cloth to my Gurudev. He'd say, offer to Thakurji first. First see if they want this chadar. And then I will happily take that remnants. Gurudev lives for Mahaprasad. He's not a Mayavadi wanting something for himself. Everything has to be prasad. Understand? The fact is that when Mayavadis worship the devatas and offer food to them, the devatas do not accept it because the worshippers are contaminated with attachment to the doctrine of illusion. There is ample evidence of this in the Shastra, and if you ask me, I can supply the quotations. The worshippers of the devas are mostly Mayavadis. That means they want something from this material world. That's why they're worshipping the devas. They're not worshipping for devotion. I already said this today. And it is detrimental to one's bhakti and an offense to Bhakti Devi to accept the prasad of the devas when such people have offered it. If a pure Vaishnava offers the prasad of Krishna to the devas and devas, they accept it with great love and begin to dance. And if a Vaishnava then takes that prasad, he experiences tremendous happiness. You see? Understand it clearly. These are subtle points we have to be crystal clear on, not mishy-mashy, not wishy-washy about these things. We should be crisp and clear. Another point to consider is that the instruction of the Shastra is all-powerful, and the Yoga Shastras direct practitioners of the yoga system not to accept the prasad of any devata. This does not mean that those who practice yoga disrespect the prasad of the devatas. It simply means that giving up prasad helps those who are practicing yoga sadhana to attain one-pointedness in meditation. Similarly, in bhakti sadhana, a bhakta cannot attain exclusive devotion to Bhagavan, who is the object of his worship, if he accepts the prasad of any other devata. It is therefore a mistake to think that Vaishnavas are averse to the prasad of other devas and devis. The various practitioners only behave in that way to try to attain perfection in their respective goals, as the Shastras recommend. You understand? It's quite clear. The devotee, the sadhak, is looking to progress his own path. And if he's accepting the prasadam that has been offered to the devas, that can derail his path because the prasad has been offered with an ulterior motive. It's not offered out of pure love and affection. These are very important points for us to understand living here in India, because many places you'll go, they'll offer us the prasad. And are you going to accept it? You should never be rude about something like that. It's like when Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, my Gurudev's guru, my Param Gurudev, he went went to the place of Vamsidas Babaji, who used to put fish bones around his bhajan kutia to keep people away, thinking that he ate fish. And he had a hookah, and he would serve tea just to try and make people think that he wasn't a Shuddha Vaishnava, so he wouldn't get so many people there. So when my Param Gurudev went there, he gave him a cup of tea, a glass of tea. My Gurudev said, Hare Krishna, thank you, and he put it down, but he never drank it. He never took it. You see, you can be smart about it. You don't have to be, if someone offers you something very nice, you say thank you very much, because that's the best they can do is offering it. And you can just make, oh, my stomach is not good today, or I'll take it later, or something, something, something. Don't be offensive to other people. This is not, our path. So now we come into a part about animal slaughter. We'll do that tomorrow. So we'll stop on page 235. So we didn't get so far today, but we'll probably finish this chapter 10 tomorrow. Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Jaiva Dharma ki jai. So tomorrow is a very special day. You're all invited to the Padmanabha Maharaj is coming tomorrow, and he'll speak. I have a class in the morning, so I won't go down until about midday. We have a class in Delhi, and then in the evening I'll speak also in an American. But we won't have our class here tomorrow evening because I have a lengthy program tomorrow evening also. So get ready to glorify Bhaktivinoda Thakur if you're asked, even if it's 2 sentences. What it's called Pushpanjali. It's when we offer some prayer at the feet of this divine personality. And if we're fortunate in an assembly to have an opportunity to offer some prayers, even if we just chant his mantra, Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidanandanamane Gauda Shakti Swarupaya Rupa Nugabraya. That's his pranam mantra. Even if we just say that and say thank you, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he will listen and our bhakti will be increased. Definitely pray for an opportunity. Or even if you don't have the opportunity, at least go in front of the deities and offer your prayers and acknowledgement. Because on this special day, on the disappearance and appearance days of these saints, there's a special current. It's a fact that comes through from the lotus feet of these divine personalities on these days. If you glorify those people, if you glorify those personalities, a special charge comes through. A current will come and bless us. So on all of these appearance and disappearance days, it's very important for our bhakti to get their mercy. We're seekers of mercy. That's all we need. We're mercy seekers. I'm so wretched and fallen. I don't know anything. Please, dear Lord, give me the mercy of your esteemed Guru Varga. Okay. Dandavat pranams. Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Vanchakalpatruvyascha. Kripa Sindhu Bevacha. Patidanam Pavanavyo Vaishnavavyo Namaha.